School here again with a really fun Tuesday topic this week, which is how boarding school is such a benefit of what we do at the Brook Hill School. So I'm joined today by Mallory Sims, Associate Director of Day Admissions, Travis Albee, who's the Director of Boarding Admissions and Marketing Communications, and Hillary Cheatham, who is the Associate Director of Boarding Admissions. So we've got a really fun conversation for you today. If you've ever wondered what is that boarding school all about, you're going to find out today. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you guys for joining me. Travis, let's kind of just dive right in, which is, everybody's always wondering how the Brook Hill School's boarding school kind of ties into the original vision and mission of Brook Hill.
Yeah. So I think it all goes back to Steve DeMint, right? He's our founder, and we're really blessed that he's still the chairman of our board of trustees and still teaches at our school. He's a wonderful man who's always followed after the Lord. But when he originally had the vision for Brook Hill, he went and visited schools all across the country. And I think he really fell in love with the model of these boarding schools out in the Northeast. He visited some great schools, and he saw how the day boarding school combination really provides an enriching environment for students. It was something that didn't currently exist in East Texas, and was also, I think, what he saw was a great need also to have a solid Christ-centered education in the day boarding school world. It was something that wasn't really being done broadly across the country. And I think it really fit in with his vision for what Brook Hill could be and what he felt like the Lord was calling him to do. And so it's been a huge blessing to really see that come to fruition through the years. When Brook Hill first started, it was just a day school, always with the hopes of adding that boarding school component. And so back in 2003, we were able to actually launch that boarding school component and begin growing it to the size it is today. So we started off with 20, and it's gone all the way up to now we have 120 boarding students at Brook Hill from all over the world, 30 different countries. And so really great diverse program that we're bringing here to East Texas, and a way for us to educate students, not only from America, but from all over the world.
Yeah, it really is such a cool part when you realize it was a part of that original vision. I think people ask that a lot. So
I love that so many different students, are on our campus and are in East Texas, and how much that benefits our community. But Hillary, that brings up, the interesting point of not every student is from the same background and from the same hometown and same experience. So it creates so much vitality and fun on our campus. But will you tell us specifically, what does the diversity look like at Brook Hill?
Yeah, great question. We are really diverse within our boarding community. So we have over 50 countries represented in our alumni and student body. Like Travis said, this year we have students from 32 different countries. So incredibly diverse right here in Bullard, Texas. And we really love to celebrate that. We're very diverse, not only with other countries, but we have 5 continents represented. We're very diverse within Europe. We have students from the Netherlands, Spain, Germany, students from pretty diverse within Asia. We're looking at South Korea, Japan, China, Indonesia, even within Africa. We have a lot of diversity. We have students from Northern Africa, South Africa. So it's really awesome just to get to celebrate, different cultures around the world. So yes, we're diverse within race, but also within those cultures. And so your students, day students, are getting to come and have this very rich experience. We talk a lot about Socratic method at Brook Hill, and so that looks like diving into conversation in their humanities classes, or even physics classes, or Bible classes, and getting the world perspective from people sitting in their classrooms that they may have never been able to even come in contact with before, but here they are learning from them, learning what culture is like in Spain, and learning about maybe how the economics looks a lot different in China than it does in the U.S. And so that those conversations are able to be really robust, and it's just really creating that worldview. We really are creating worldview, like a broad worldview. We want students to be global thinkers and that global citizen mindset. And so they're really able to go deep into that. And again, just that culture piece is amazing. We live in this shrinking world. It's very easy, and I think we've all seen that in light of what's going on in the world right now, that we're very easily connected to people complete opposite side of the world from us. And so when students are able to come and just connect with people and other students like them from around the world, then they're able to just kind of bridge that gap in communication, not even now, but just for the rest of their lives. So it's a really great kind of forward thinking thing that they're getting to experience.
Yeah, and I love that you highlighted the connections that happen over conversation, because that's a goal for all of our students, that we will, build them to be confident thinkers that think on their own and then share, humbly and gracefully with their peers. And so I think it's a beautiful thing that we're not just preparing for college, but preparing students for life, for the global world of their future and what they'll live in. So thanks so much for that.
And it's so interesting because you mentioned like the current climate, and my son just did a Spanish project in 9th grade, so foreign language, but he had to do it as a group. And obviously, we're distance learning. And so they had to calculate time zones because members of their group, were all over, the world, which was really interesting and kind of frustrating for a 9th grader. But as a parent, I thought, what a great life lesson. You're having to really think about and take into account, and that is true collaboration. And so on all ends was really cool. I know normally they're in our time zone, so they just meet up, but it was an interesting, for me, thought of looking forward to life for him and how that will become a part of, in this ever shrinking borders, we're becoming this ever growing global community, and that will be part of life for him. So it's really neat to see that play out. Diversity, also, I think just from a day perspective, not only do you get to work and play, but then we also see that we really attract a lot of families who are international in the community. And so that's been really neat to watch that grow at the lower school. We have grown a lot in true, diversity. And then also to see the boarding students go collaborate, and our 3rd graders get to learn like where Ghana is really, really, really neat when we have a student there to talk about their culture and their art and their music from around the world. So I love that. And really fun for them too, to get to, mentor students too in that way. Travis, I think, I think the big question is, and what we really, really want, people to understand, I think, is what is the advantage from your perspective of Brook Hill being both a day and boarding school versus primarily one or the other?
Definitely. Just so those who are listening kind of have a better picture, about 1/3 of Brook Hill's 8th through 12th grade population is boarding, and about 2/3 is day. And, there's a lot of really great advantages to that. I think you can think about that from two perspectives. One is as a boarding student and a boarding family, and one is as a day student and as a day family. Now, I think for boarding students and for boarding families, the big advantage of that is that you are still at a boarding school, even though there's students from all over the world, there's still a lot of Americans, right? So you're still getting a true American high school experience that you don't always get if you go to different boarding schools that maybe are primarily boarding, and maybe there's a large percentage of international students. And so that's a huge advantage, I think, for boarding families and boarding students, particularly if they're from another country, but even if they're a U.S. citizen living here in the United States. There's just a great opportunity to still have a rich high school experience. I think the other part of it too is that you get to develop relationships and friendships with other students and their families who are living here in the States. And you get to go to their house on the weekends. You get to be a part of their family. And a lot of our day families will adopt a boarding student, and that boarding student will come over to their house for dinners and have these different rich experiences with them. So I think that there's a really great opportunity for boarding students and families, to actually dive into life in America, in life, particularly in Texas, and to still have that traditional American high school experience while they're here. I think also from the day side, there's also huge advantages to having a boarding school on campus, right? Not only do we have diversity like we've already talked about, but there's also, I think, a rich and vibrant campus life that happens when you have a boarding school, because you have 120 students that are living here 24/7. And that creates a lot of fun activities that our school plans for them, that the students plan. That creates a guaranteed crowd, right, at every home football, basketball, softball game. And so there's lots of fun opportunities in that regard. You know, if your day student, you know, really falls in love and builds great friendships with students in our boarding program, right, they're able to hang out with them in their dorms after school. And, you know, if they go to Six Flags on the weekend, they can hop on that trip as well. And I think the added value for you as a family, you know, to adopt, you know, and be a boarding buddy with one of our boarding students is also a huge advantage. You know, it really enriches your kids' lives. Even if your kids aren't in high school, right, you can still have these meaningful relationships with students in our boarding program who do want someone, you know, to pour into them, to mentor them, to kind of be a second mom or dad to them. And to have that family unit, I think, provides a lot of emotional and spiritual and psychological health for our boarding students, right? But it also enriches the lives of our day families in some really unique ways that you can't get somewhere else. And so because there's 120 boarding kids, right, there's also a lot of them to be shared. And so, you know, it's not like a school maybe has 2 or 3 international kids. You know, that's very different from having a full boarding program. But that's just kind of, in summary, just a few of the great things that I think really happen when you combine the day and boarding school experience into one.
Yeah, I definitely think that, you know, I'm thinking back to like the senior highlights that we've been doing this past few weeks at Brook Hill, and, you know, looking at some of the seniors who have been at Brook Hill's campus for a while, and, you know, they're thinking back on the past years that they've spent here, and a lot of that, the memories that were very memorable for them were the families that invited them into their homes. You know, they were able to spend holidays with them and weekends with them, and that family really did become a second family for them. And so that's just a really cool opportunity for you to get to impact someone for the kingdom, and for you to just get to open your home. And then, like we talked about before, yeah, if you have a third grader, you know, or a second grader in your home, what a great opportunity to just even then start shaping their worldview and the way that they view, you know, the world around them. I think it's really easy just to get a little, you know, focused on where we are in East Texas. You know, we have all of this, and it's a great place to live and grow up and all of that. You know, I'm a product of East Texas as well, but how cool that right here you have this opportunity to expand your kids' vision and just help them start thinking outside, and that collaboration. It's a really beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, I think, and I can see it from the boarding perspective too, having that, you know, second family opportunity and the sleepovers, and, you know, you don't lose some of those things, and getting to spend time and having the home crowd. You know, it's a benefit from a boarding perspective too. When you play a football game, you've got an entire community of people cheering you on as well. But from my perspective as a mom, it is such a eye opener for all levels. You know, I think my kids already are comfortable around so many different people because that's what they're used to. They're used to a lot of different points of view and backgrounds and even languages. You know, right? It's not unheard of, even though, you know, they're speaking English on a normal basis all the time. It's also not unheard of to see a conversation break out maybe in another language, and that's really interesting, and something that just we didn't grow up around, you know. And so I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate, you know, I think about the American Freedom Museum, and I think about being a student and studying World War II and taking a trip down to our amazing museum and being in a class with students from 5 different countries with 5 different perspectives, and how much that can, you know, open your mind. And that's one small piece and one small example, but I really do think, kind of, you know, to echo what you guys have said, the worldview piece is so phenomenal. And then, you know, I know many alum who will say, one of my best friends was from, you know, X country, fill in the blank, and they still keep up today. And, you know, I mean, they don't visit every holiday, but they're on, you know, social media chatting, they text each other, they do all the things. And it's what a phenomenal network, you know, to kind of be building too. So I think that is. Any last words? I you know, did a 1-word challenge with our teachers last week. So I'm going to throw out to you guys. I'll start with Hillary, but if you had to describe not just Brook Hill, but let's do Brook Hill boarding. If you had to describe Brook Hill boarding in one word, and I'm going to take diverse off the table because it's too.
All right.
What would that be? I think.
Ooh, okay. I think that the word coming to mind, I have a lot of words flowing around my head right now, but I don't know. I just think vibrant, is a great word for the community there, whether it be, in the kitchen after school. And I've been over there, in the students' kitchens, and there's day students hanging out with students, and they're all making food from their different countries and, bumping up against different languages, like you said. It's just such a vibrant community. So that's the word I'm going to go with. It's a really cool place.
Travis?
Awesome. Yeah. For me, I think it's something that we say of Brook Hill in general, but I think it also applies to our boarding community. And that's an easy one. It's family, it becomes a family with, when you're living in a boarding house with students from all over the world, you become brothers, you become sisters. And, you have your dorm parents, your boarding parents who live in the house with you, and they're doing life with you, and they become part of your family. And you're on campus and you're building friendships with kids from, who are day students and boarding students and your faculty and staff. I think that, anytime you have people who are selfless and committed to one another and share common goals, right, I think that it really strong communities form. And, at Brook Hill, I think when you add love and you add a Christ-centered environment into that, I think it really translates beyond community and into real family that will go with you wherever for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Mallory's newer, but I'm going to throw her on the spot too from a newer perspective. Mal, if you were thinking about Brook Hill and the boarding school, day school combination specifically, what's one word for you?
Well, it might be cheating because we've said it a little bit, but I think really from a day and boarding school perspective, both, the word comes to mind as enrichment. That really those students get, whatever type of student you are at Brook Hill, you get so much out of the Brook Hill School having this beautiful boarding program as part of it, from pre-K all the way through 12, whether you're in arts, whether you're in sports, whether you're in all kinds of different clubs. Just being a student at Brook Hill, you get enrichment from the boarding program. So enrichment would be my word.
Mallory stole mine, so I shouldn't have asked her.
That makes this a good team.
Yeah, we think alike. I was going to say rich, not quite enrichment, but just that I think it's one of those things that's kind of, I think you don't understand fully until you've experienced it, but it's so, it can add such a depth to your world that you might not have even realized you were missing. But now on the flip side of it, I just can't imagine, another way of life for my kids, for me. So maybe I could say home, still that same thing too, but just that same feeling of just such a great thing. And props to you guys because you do a really great job of being, the liaisons between from all around the world. I've always said if there was anyone in a position to really succeed amidst COVID-19, it's Travis and Hillary, because they're used to talking to people all over the world in all different time zones and amidst virtual, experiences all the time. So y'all do a great job of getting Brook Hill out there to the right people and really making sure that year over year we have that true mission-minded, diverse global perspective and really rich experience at Brook Hill. If you guys want to know more about boarding school in general, if you are someone watching this, around the world or here at home, we do have 30 different countries, but 25% of them are domestic. And so you can do boarding school you can live in Texas and board, you can do it from anywhere in the United States and all over the world. Reach out to Travis or Hillary. You can catch them on our website at brookhill.org. You can just kind of click around and find the boarding or the admissions tab. You can email them directly. Y'all want to shout out your email or text them somewhere, Travis?
Yeah, you can just email me at talb@brookhill.org, TALB as in boy, EA admissions@brookhill.org. You can also just reach us anytime at admissions@brookhill.org. So it's just admissions@brookhill.org.
Yeah, and you can email me at hcheatham, that's HCHEATHAM
There you go. It's kind of like a little cheer.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to know more about that, definitely reach out to them. And if you just want to know more about Brook Hill, you can catch Mallory and I at any time, Jay Whitten, JWHITTEN at brookhill.org, or MSIMS, MSIMS at brookhill.org. And we would love to chat with you and let you get to know Brook Hill a little better. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, guys. Y'all did great.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.